You ever been on a project that just felt doomed from the start? You know the one. Everyone's working like crazy, but you've got this nagging feeling in your gut that you are building the absolute wrong thing? Well, today we're diving into Marty Cagan's incredible product model to figure out exactly how to stop that from ever happening again.
I mean, it's the question that must keep CEOs up at night, right? A company will pour tens, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars into some big digital transformation. They hire all the smartest people, they buy the shiniest new tech, but instead of rocketing ahead, they just get stuck. They get slower. And all the while, their smaller, quicker competitors start eating their lunch. How does this happen over and over again?
So to really get to the bottom of this, let's look at a real-world story of a company that walked right into this exact trap. It's a cautionary tale from the book Transformed, and it's a perfect example of what happens when you have all the best intentions but a completely broken model.
So I want you to picture this company. They are at the absolute top of their game. For more than a decade, they've just owned their industry. They're the brand everyone knows, everyone trusts. From the outside, you'd think they were completely unstoppable.
But, the leaders weren't just sitting back. They knew they couldn't just coast. So they kicked off this super ambitious transformation program. The board signed off on this massive budget, they brought in the expensive consultants, and they totally reorganized their entire tech division.
And then it all went sideways. 4 years and tens of millions of dollars later, the company was actually slower than when they started. I mean, product releases that used to take a few weeks were now taking months. The process was so tangled up that their best engineers were just leaving, totally burned out.
And the final nail in the coffin? The board, having totally lost faith, fired the very CEO who started the whole transformation. It's just a brutal reminder that this isn't just some academic exercise. This has very real career-ending consequences. So what on earth was the fatal flaw?
So really, what went wrong here? It wasn't about a lack of money or a lack of effort. No. The problem was the underlying system, the model of how they worked. They were stuck in a system that was all about being busy instead of being impactful. It was a system that was perfectly designed to build the wrong thing, just faster.
Okay, this slide right here. This is the whole problem in a nutshell. On the left, you've got the old way, the feature-driven model. This is basically a feature factory. Success is all about output. How many features did we ship this quarter? The roadmap is just a list of stuff that the loudest person in the room demanded. But on the right, you've got the product model. And here, success is measured by outcomes. Do we actually grow the business? Do we make our customers happier? Teams aren't just handed a to-do list. They're given tough problems to solve. It's a huge shift from output to real, measurable impact.
And this quote from Marty Cagan really gets to the heart of it all. The key word here is discover. It's not about just building what you're told. It's about answering 3 huge questions before you even think about writing code for production. First, is it valuable? Like, will people actually open their wallets for this? Second, is it usable? Can a real human being figure out how to use it without a manual? And third, is it feasible? Can our engineers actually build this thing with the tech and the time we have?
Okay, so that's the big idea. But what does this actually look like day to day? It's not just some nice-sounding philosophy. It's a real system built on 2 core pillars, a process called product discovery and a very specific kind of team. So, product discovery is where the team does the hard work to answer those 3 questions. Valuable, usable, feasible. And look, this isn't about sitting in meetings for months writing a 100-page document. No way. This is about running fast, cheap experiments to get real data. We're talking about things like spinning up a simple landing page to see if anyone actually signs up, or doing a fake door test, putting a button for a new feature in the app and when someone clicks it, it just says coming soon. How many people clicked? That tells you way more than a survey ever could. It's all about evidence, not just opinions.
And the engine that drives all of this discovery work is the empowered product team. This is a small, dedicated crew, usually 1 product manager, 1 designer, and a few engineers, who work together every single day to crack a specific customer problem. They're not order takers, right? They're not just waiting for someone to tell them what to build. They're given real ownership and the authority to figure out the best way to solve the problem themselves.
And this slide just perfectly lays out the mindset that guides those teams. Now, I'm not going to read all 10 of Cagan's truths, but let's just zoom in on a couple that are so important. Look at number 2, the idea that this is a deep collaboration. The product manager, the designer, the lead engineer, they have to be in it together from the very beginning. And then look at number 7,
Product ideas must be tested early and often on actual target users. It's about having the humility to admit that our best ideas are just guesses until a real customer validates them.
All right, so that's the theory. Sounds good, right? But does it actually work in the messy, real world? Oh yeah, it does. Let's talk about a company that actually made this exact transformation and saw some pretty mind-blowing results. This is the story of Trainline.
So, back in 2014, Trainline was kinda stuck, a legacy company that was about to get run over. But then, a private equity firm saw the potential. They brought in brand new leadership who started a total rebuild from the ground up based on this project model. And over the next 5 years, they went from being this struggling old-school company to an absolute market-dominating powerhouse.
This quote from their head of product, this is everything. This was the turning point. They realized they were sitting on this absolute gold mine of data about how their customers traveled, but it was buried. They couldn't get to it. Unlocking that data wasn't just a tech project, it was the key to finally deeply understanding what their customers were struggling with.
And this is what they did with that data. Through a ton of research, they found 7 critical problems that frustrated pretty much every single one of their customers. They called them the Super 7. And we're not talking about minor annoyances here, we're talking about deep frustrations. Like that feeling of panic when you're trying to find the right platform in a crazy busy station, or the nightmare of trying to change your ticket at the last minute. By focusing relentlessly on solving these big, hairy problems, they created so much value for their customers that their competitors just got left in the dust.
So how did they actually pull this off? A change this big doesn't happen just because you move some bosses around on an org chart. It takes a complete shift in the entire culture. And a shift like that, well, it always has to start at the top, with leadership.
And here's the absolute key for any leader listening. Your job in the product model is not to have all the answers or to tell people what to build. Your job is to provide context. That means you have to paint a clear and exciting vision of where you're all going. It means you define a smart strategy for how you're going to win. And it means giving your teams the business context, the data, the insights, the KPIs, so they can make great decisions all on their own. You know, you can't fake this stuff. And this quote from the legendary Silicon Valley coach Bill Campbell just nails it. If you really want to transform your company, you have to lead from the front. The CEO, the whole executive team, they have to live and breathe this model every single day. You can't just delegate it to some head of transformation. You have to be the change.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this really powerful question from Jeff Bezos. See, the goal of the product model isn't just to swap one rigid process for another one. The goal is to build a culture, a system that is laser-focused on one thing, delivering real value to your customers and to your business consistently. So I want you to take a hard look at your own company, your own team, and ask yourself this question. Do your processes serve you, or are you serving the process?